Hello, welcome to John McHugh Real Estate. I'm John McHugh from Coldwell Banker, here to discuss timely real estate topics and have some fun. Today we have a great guest, a special treat. We have Stephanie Sugden, founder of the Powissett Group, and she is with Compass. Stephanie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, John.
It's good to see you here. We haven't got to see as much of each other lately as I would like, and to have a friend here and someone, a colleague that I really respect, it's a treat because you know a lot about real estate. I see how you operate. You're incredibly ethical, hardworking, and determined, and those are the things that I think that we could all see more of in the industry in general. I think it's great.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. I wanted to ask you to start off for the audience, how long have you been in business, Stephanie?
I've been in real estate for about 11 years.
11 years, okay, good. And you've sold a number of houses in the area and worked with buyers and sellers, as have I. What made you want to get into real estate when you first started?
Oh gosh, so many things. I think, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, I love houses, and yes, of course, I love houses, but I think it was more than that. It was the hunt to find the perfect place for a buyer, you know, helping a seller realize that, you know, you can get more money if you do a few little minor things. I think it was just really about helping the client, especially first-time home buyers.
Do you like working with first-time home buyers specifically?
Yes, I love working with first-time home buyers. I feel like this sounds corny, but I can protect them and really make sure that they're being taken care of and that they're being led and guided down the right path, and that we make sure that what they're looking to buy has been completely researched.
There's a significant difference between somebody who has a little bit more experience in buying properties and may have done it 3 or 4 times, not thinking this has got to be the place we're going to move out of our first apartment and get into, but a little bit more experience having done it. So when you have a first-time home buyer, there are so many things that can come up that they may not be aware of, as you know, savvy as first-time home buyers can be. So it's good to have that protection factor to let them know what's available to them. When people get into real estate and decide to do it, I'm wondering what would you think makes people want to get into real estate? And down the road, do you think that they feel the same once they got into it? We see different people come into the industry. I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Right. I see a lot of people saying, oh, I'll just get my real estate license. It's, you know, I might as well just have it and I can do it on the side with my other job. I think that a lot of people believe that they're going to make gobs and gobs of money and not put much effort into it. But I think after a while, the people who go in with that mindset, they learn that that's not the case and that it is a lot of work and you're not necessarily going to make tons and tons of money. So many people don't end up keeping or staying in the industry.
Right, and I've seen the same thing, and I like to ask everyone else about that because some people will say, oh, it's a good time, should my son get into real estate? And I'll say, well, does he have X set up already so that he can ride out some years in the business? And a good thing I think for people thinking about getting into real estate to know would be, I always worked on the guideline of what you make in your 3rd year. And a very experienced manager told me when I started that your first year is a complete fluke and that it really doesn't reflect all of your hard work and efforts that you put into building a business and reaping the results of that business, because a year isn't really enough time to get it done. So working with buyers is one thing under the general umbrella of real estate that we both do, and we both work with sellers. And I know there have been a number of tools available to real estate agents across the board that have varied over the years depending upon the circumstance, the price point, whether we have a lack of supply or booming demand. And some of the things that we'll do are working with Real Estate 101. You know, we want to get our product in front of the largest group of people so that we'll be able to pick from that pile the best offer. And that comes with the full exposure. And to step ahead for a moment, I wanted to mention one thing that I noticed that Stephanie did, and it's not something Stephanie shared with me directly. I happened to see it online, and you know, we see thousands of posts in a week, and the video that you chose to do for this property, I believe it was 47 Wilsondale Street in Dover. This is a property that sold many years ago, multi-million-dollar property, but it was something unique. It was an approach that I had not seen before, and I thought that was going above and beyond for a luxury client. And it's nice when you can find something, a tool that will help to get your property, your seller's property, in front of the right market. And I think that that video was spot on. Is that what made you want to go ahead?
Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun, even just being part of the production of that video. We just really wanted people to feel like they were at home, and you'll see the video pulling up the driveway.
Would you mind if we take a look at it now?
Sure, let's take a look.
That'd be great. Let's take a look at Stephanie's video, 47 Wilsondale Street in Dover. That is something that I've seen so many videos. Back in the day when we just had photographs, or we would do what was called a home movie, where they would point the camera and pan, and then the next room and pan. This goes above and beyond that. I thought it was spectacular. Did you get nice results from that?
Thanks. Yeah, we did. We had tons and tons of views on social media. And people that I hadn't heard from in years would say, "Oh, I saw the video that you did for 47 Wilsondale. It's amazing." So I think we really got a lot of attention for our clients with that video.
That's great, and that's the perfect tool for a property that's that expensive in that area, because it really brought people in. I thought personally that it showed the scape of the property indoors and out, because sometimes it's easy to get caught up in photos of kitchens and family rooms and what have you. I thought it showed the scope of being an estate, the indoor-outdoor use of the property, and the lighting on the interior. Did you have professional lighting separate, or is that the house?
We didn't. That was the house, actually.
See, amazing.
Yeah.
The lighting was spectacular. It really made me want to go see that house, and it really intrigued me, and I thought it was great. Videos are one of the things that we do, and I've done a number of videos as well, and this is a good example because there are different types of videos that we can offer to our clients based upon the price point and target market demographic. And the video that I did was for a property on Pleasant Street in Natick, and I took a different bit of an approach there. It's in South Natick. We're trying to get some families to come in, and we wanted to take advantage of the fact that this was a classic house and to show those details. We'll have a look at that video now too.
Great.
Pleasant Street in South Natick.
Situated on a nearly 1-acre level lot, this amazing home offers plenty of space and privacy. Let's head inside over the welcoming front porch, and I'll show you all this beauty has to offer. From the family room with vaulted ceilings to the lovely living room with fireplace, this home's living areas are truly spectacular. This custom gourmet kitchen checks all the boxes, offering stainless appliances, a huge center island, and gorgeous cabinetry. Dine in casual elegance or enjoy more sophisticated dinner party appeal with a number of different dining areas to fit your needs. Also featured are this library with French doors and this office, which has a separate entrance and could be a first-floor bedroom. The master suite is a relaxing retreat, complete with a sitting area, vaulted ceilings, and a luxuriously renovated bath. The bedrooms are well-designed, relaxing retreats, while the home's bathrooms are tasteful and elegantly designed. The expansive backyard features a deck and plenty of room to play and explore. What a great place to relax on the weekends.
So 2 different videos for 2 different properties. And I thought that this one came out nicely. I like the fact that I chose to use a narrated video for this one. It was a little bit different so they could speak to the rooms. And we always assume that people are going to read titles or whatever. And I thought maybe this would make people watch because they would hear a narrator talking about the property. And this was done for a different price point, and I think it was very effective, and my clients were very happy. And what it did was it made people realize whether they wanted to come out and see the home or not. And I think that it drew in a lot more people that decided, based on seeing the configuration, that they would like to come out and see it. So the videos are a couple things that we do in general as part of a strategy in marketing for our clients. There are many things that we do in order to obtain the best offer and the best terms for our clients. What are some other things that you think that are effective as seller marketing tools?
Oh gosh, well, now that we have social media, I mean, it's really been a game changer for real estate, I think. We can really kind of track how many people are looking at our posts about certain houses or neighborhoods, or even if we're just posting about, gardening. But it's really been effective for to get these homes and properties out in front of, targeted markets. We can choose, to send, if we're looking to sell something in a particular town, we can target that town, or we can say, oh, a lot of people have been moving here from Boston, so we could target, Boston. That's been really, really helpful. And just like, the videos, the social media, it's just a totally different real estate world than it was 20 years ago.
And I love the fact that you brought up social media. We've discussed that a number of times here on the show, and I think that's a great way to show how the industry is evolving, and that is really taken over. I'll probably make you smile, and that when I'm thinking what we've done for sellers over my 22-year career, I always think back to the brochure. It was always the brochure that most of my clients were concerned about. And I think that part of that is because when they go out to look at houses, whether it's just for comparative purposes or when they were looking for their home, the brochure was the one takeaway that they had. And when they're in their car at the end of the day and they have them all on their lap, they had no choice, even subconsciously, to compare them. So it was all about that brochure. And I used to put a significant portion of my marketing dollars into that brochure, which no longer basically even exists, I've found. The brochure, which was the most important, with COVID, people didn't want to touch paper, they didn't want to take things. It was really different. We would have a QR code to download the listing instead and look at it that way. That's one of the things that I still offer them, and I have them for some people that prefer that. Let's try to please everybody. The other thing was brokers' open houses, just so everyone understands. When we put a listing on the market, we will generally have a broker's open house. An open house for brokers, it's usually 1 or 2 days during the week, town specific, so that the agents can come in on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday and have a preview of the home to know whether this is a good home to present to their client, to suggest it based on the needs of any individual buyer. And I have not seen as many brokers' open houses nearly as I did in past years. I used to set up catered brokers open houses, and this would be during a period of entering a new listing in a price point where there was already maybe 80 listings in the price point that had been on the market for countless days, 30 to 120 plus. So the purpose for the brokers open house for me then was to pull in buyers and buyer agents so they would be able to see something different in a new market offering entering the market. Why should we buy this new entry as opposed to the other remaining available properties? Do you still see a lot of brokers open houses? I know when I had one in Dover, I had to call you and ask which day it was.
Right, that's true. No, we definitely don't see as many as we used to. You're right, it's a different market. I wonder sometimes though if we'll go back to that if the market slows down quite a bit, because it's been a pretty fast-paced market since COVID.
Incredible. I mean, 1-2 days on market. Yeah. It's not true to the brokers open houses, right. I can tell you that. But yeah, I was thinking that too. We may very well go back. I still offer a wide range because it depends. It's not seller specific. If that's something that they want, then I'll do whatever they want. But I will have somebody who worked in a real estate office and they're convinced that the brokers open house is the most important thing. And I think it's because they were sitting there listening to the phone calls and they knew that we all did them, or we'd bring back the lunch platter that was left, and they had a different perspective on the efficacy of that event. What about regular open houses? I love an open house. I have a big mouth. I love to chat. I love to meet new people, and I like to stand there at an open house and not haunt people, which can be really interesting to see when people do that.
Right.
But I mean, I guess what works for anybody, right? For me, I like to let people relax, feel comfortable, have a look around, and guess what? If they have any questions, they're going to let me know. Do you have a lot of open houses? How do you feel about them? Where do you see them going?
We do. We love open houses too. I think they're great. Like you said, it's a great time to meet people, talk about the house. You know, in this fast-paced market that we've had for the past few years, it's really a great way to get as many people as possible through the properties. And oftentimes we'll wait to have showings until the open house, and I really feel like that builds interest.
I do that too. I say showings will begin at the open house on Saturday or Sunday blank. I think it's a great way to build interest and to have everyone there, seeing everyone else there. We can really gauge some interest. I'll tell you something, when I bring a buyer to a house and we do it on the Friday before the open house or something, and we're there by ourselves in a lockbox, it really gives them a different perspective than the next day of the buyers that were there and saw it elbow to elbow with 60 other couples.
Right.
I think that it really plays out and gives anything that we can do to help our buyers, educate them a little bit more, to let them know what they're getting into and where we are, is good to know. So we both work with buyers, we both work with sellers, we both had long careers. And have you had some exciting moments that you remember? Exciting, embarrassing, fun, staggering moments, anything? I'm always trying to get people to give us a bit of a real life scenario in whatever they do. And you've been in real estate a long time. You must have had something interesting or unique happen.
Oh, sure, plenty. I think, you know, my first listing ever was in Natick on Stacy Street, and there was a really big storm the night before closing. Well, it turns out that the storm drains were filled up during this storm. It was, you know, practically a hurricane. And when we went to do the walkthrough in the morning, there was 3 feet of water in the basement that had supposedly never had water before. So that was pretty scary. We did end up closing, but that was...
Never had water before, but then there was a storm.
No, yes, it was a newer construction at the time. So, yep, that was pretty crazy.
That's really crazy, yeah. Anything the night before our closing, that's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, so we were fortunate to, you know, have it still go through, but that was definitely nerve-wracking.
That is. I have a story too. I have a couple, and I'll tell you one about an open house. We do each other's open houses sometimes, depending upon who's busy and who's not busy. And I was doing an open house on a street in Wellesley, and I was there early. I picked up the keys, and I got there, and I opened up. And as I was going to set up my open house table, I noticed there were all kinds of trinkets and treasures everywhere. Fabergé-style eggs, silverware, but it looked like an antique store. I mean, there were a million little things. There was no room on the tables, silver everywhere, as I said, and I was thinking, this, you know, I'm not the listing agent, but, you know, there's a lot that could be picked up here. We're always concerned. We tell sellers, any prescriptions, any jewelry, any valuables, it's best to put them away, secure them, or take them with you. And I will always look from a protective point of view for the seller, and we have to be protected and be careful about these things. And I had the open house. Nobody came. This was during the days when we had 250 houses on the market that had been on for many days. It was most definitely a buyer's market. We had very low supply, very high supply, very little demand. And I had the open house, nobody came. And as I was leaving, I locked up and I'm driving down the street, and I noticed something that I'd seen on the way to the house, which was a house with the front door open and all of the lights on and nobody there. But I thought it was interesting because it's the middle of the day and their lamp posts are on. And it was only later that I realized that I had the open house at the wrong house.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's great.
That is one that came up. So when we have multiple properties listed in the same area on the same street and people are busy, and I had been in business for about a year, I took the keys, or was handed the keys for a property that was on the same street, but it was not the one intended to have the open house. Wires get crossed, and that's how it was. So it was probably the other one that had been ready for the open house, but it didn't happen. And it all turned out well, and a buyer came along after that because we had promoted, you know, the open house, and it all turned out well. But that was a scary one for me. You never know what's going to happen. And the seller thought it was hysterical. Nothing got stolen, you know. This was a different market. We hardly have time for an open house now.
No, that's
Sometimes
true.
we have people purchasing sight unseen.
Yes.
That's scary.
It is scary, yes.
So, Stephanie, would you mind if we took some viewer questions?
Sure.
That would be great.
I'd love it.
Okay, good. First question, how far, this is from Sharon A. in Natick, how far over the asking price do you suggest I make an offer in order to get the house?
Oh gosh, well, that's the question lately. You know, it really depends on the property. It really depends on, you know, when we're representing buyers, we like to find out how many offers the seller's agent is expecting so that we can gauge, you know, where they should come in. But we have seen offers substantially over asking price lately.
It's been amazing.
It really has.
Way over. Yeah, that is a hard one to ask, and I'll always say, you know, I don't want to be the agent who tells you not to go over and you'll regret it, but let's try and get as much information as we can and feel out the situation. That's why it's good to be a member of the brokerage community, to not ruffle feathers, get along with everyone, be out and see them. And then, you know, you might be more likely, like in any scenario in life, to get a little bit more information. And let me have another one here. Do I have to waive the inspection in order to get the house?
That's another important question we've been hearing a lot lately.
Yes.
We never recommend that somebody waive a home inspection. However, in these crazy markets, I will say that waiving a home inspection will make your offer stronger. So it's a tricky one. You don't necessarily want to tell somebody to do it, but it will make it stronger.
I say the same thing. I say I always recommend that you have a home inspection. However, there have been a lot of people dropping the home inspection, dropping the mortgage contingency, and based upon where we are and where the market may be going and the competitors involved, we should sit down and talk about it. And the other thing I'll say is we do offer a home warranty. So if you're taking a look at the house and you bring in mom or dad or bring an inspector to the open house, if you're only concerned severely about a few things here, and I don't mean structural damage, I mean, you know, maybe the boiler or something, we do have a home warranty that would cover some of these things. And I know Compass has some type of offering as well. American Home Shield usually is available to most of us. And let's take another one here. I am confused about the size of the house. Is the basement always included in the living area?
This is a good one. Yes. Sometimes yes and sometimes no.
And that's from Linda D, and she's in Natick. Sorry.
Great. No worries.
Thanks, Linda.
So oftentimes agents will include the basement in the living area, but the listing will need to disclose that the basement is included in the living area. So that's also a case-by-case basis. And I know a lot of people get hung up on price per square foot, but
Does that really work outside of condos and in this area?
No, and it shouldn't,
think
because you know, you can look at a house that really is just a box and be comparing that square footage to another one that has, you know, all sorts of intricate molding and woodwork and built-ins, and they obviously are not the same value. So the price per square foot should really we should forget about that.
Right, I agree 100%. And the number of factors that we take into consideration in order to boil down what the reasonable fair market value would be is a bit more sophisticated than
Absolutely.
just price per any type of square foot. We'll go for another one. Amanda M. is asking, I am paying my agent's commission, but who will pay the buyer's agent commission?
Yes, so typically, and not always, the seller will pay the commission, and they offer to a buyer's agent. If they bring a buyer, then they will give them a percentage of that commission.
Perfect. Excellent. That's good. I think that we have discussed so many wonderful topics here. I've been dying to have you come on because I've always enjoyed working with you when we were in the same office. I love spending the time with you. You always had your head down, and we're working. We all get busy, but it was great when we could spend some time chatting about life. And that's part of the job that I like at an open house, or sitting with a colleague and getting to know somebody really well.
Right.
And you've been fantastic to work with. Any thoughts that you have about real estate? Anything that that's on your mind recently? I know your group is doing really well.
Yes, they are. They're really doing very well. No, I had a question for you.
Please.
I was thinking about the market now, and you know, I think it was similar to 2014-ish market, and I was thinking about how many offers I have written for clients and they have not gotten the house. Like, how many offers have you written before they finally got the house?
Nowadays?
Yes.
That's an excellent question. Recently, I've been writing probably 2 offers for clients, and sometimes I would give my very best advice. They would see 60 people at the open house and they wouldn't get it. And generally the next time, if they love the house, they would probably step up. It's difficult to anyone to say we need to go over the asking price. It's the asking price. But when we really get educated, I would say 2, but I've heard of colleagues sometimes writing 6, 8 offers per buyer and losing every one. How about you?
Yes. Well, it's been a while since I've written this many, but for these lovely clients that were looking in Wellesley and Natick about 9 years ago, I wrote 14 offers.
14.
And one of their offers was $250,000 over the asking price, and they did not get it.
$250 over and they didn't get it?
No, they didn't.
This is the market that we're in now, and I don't know how long it can last, but that's a great story. I hope that you have a lot more stories and things to share, and that you'll come back and do this again with me.
I'd love to. Thank you for having me, John.
Thanks for coming. Stephanie Sugden from the Powissett Group. Feel free to reach out to her at Compass if you need her. I'm John McHugh. Thanks so much for joining me.